Welcome to the Michigan Man Podcast on Wolverine Sports Radio, a member of the V Sporto Network, and in partnership with SB Nation's Maize and Brew, for Wolverine fans from coast to coast. Go Blue and welcome to the show. I'm your host, Mike Fitzpatrick. With us on today's program will be the senior editor of our Michigan Bible, the Wolverine Magazine, John Borton. I love this time of year on the Michigan athletic scene. There is so much action, and what makes it even better is the fact we have so many of our winter sports teams having outstanding years. It's also great to have softball and baseball back in action because that reminds us warm weather is right around the corner. We cover a lot of ground on today's game day segment, so let's get to it. Up next is the longtime editor of our Wolverine Magazine, John Borton. So stay with us. Joining us on our game day segment this week is senior editor of the Wolverine Magazine, John Borton. John, as always, it's great to have you with us.
Hey, great to be with you, Mike. A lot of interesting things going on in the world of Michigan athletics, obviously.
Oh, absolutely. A very, very busy time of the year. So let's start with what the number one topic for, I think, all of us right now, Michigan hoops. Peaking at the right time, there's no question about that. We have Illinois tomorrow night, Thursday, Indiana on Sunday. Both of those games on the road. From your point of view, John, what does this team need to do to get into the big dance?
That's a great question and on everybody's mind at this point, given recent events and Michigan's three wins in a row after some of us sort of left the Wolverines hanging out to dry as far as the big dance. It was like, it's just not going to happen this year. Okay. You know, what can they learn down the stretch and those sorts of things. Now here they are right on the borderline, some having them last in, some having them first out. But I would say a great start towards making the NCAA tournament would be to win one of these next two games. And that gives them 12 wins in the Big Ten. I understand the arguments about, they really underperformed in the non-conference season, terrible loss to Central Michigan. But if you post after that 10 wins in regular season Big Ten play, or 12 wins rather, that's doing a lot. And that has you up in the upper echelon of one of the better leagues in the country. And I think it would be a very, very interesting argument to leave them out at that point. And certainly you want to do something once you reach you don't want to go one and done in the Big Ten tournament. But to secure one of these last two regular season games, I think would go a really long way. It's not going to be easy, as you noted, both of the games on the road. But if you get one, then I think you've put yourself in a very good and to many very unexpected position at this point.
Well, there are so many things to like about how this team is playing right now. The backcourt of Doug McDaniel and Kobe Buffkin may be, probably the most improved in the Big Ten, maybe even in the country, John, in the second half of the season.
There's no question about it. And we've been talking for a long time that this season and the season turnaround hinged on the increasing maturity and production of guys like Kobe Buffkin and like Doug McDaniel in the back half. And boy, have they come through. Kobe Buffkin has blossomed into what many are regarding as a future NBA player. No question about it. It's just a matter of when. He came up with a huge shot against Michigan State to help the Wolverines over the top in that one at home. He has been arguably their best player, or right there with Hunter Dickinson. And Doug McDaniel has been just a real revelation at point guard. Here's a kid that was looked on to maybe play 10, 12 minutes a game behind the transfer starting point guard. Then said point guard goes down with injury. Doug McDaniel is suddenly the guy, and boy, he has really grown. And I liked his comments recently when they asked him, did he consider himself a freshman? He says, no, I consider myself a leader. And he is now, you can see the confidence. You can see him assert himself and direct this show, and it's getting better and better and better. Michigan, for a long time, had a difficult time finishing games, certainly in the non-conference, and then sometimes in the Big Ten play. And not all that long ago, when Juwan Howard was even saying, we're not getting exactly what we're asking from the players on the court. Well, that has changed in recent days, and they're doing what the coaches are telling them. And the growth of the two young men that you cited has been central to that.
And the growth of McDaniel and Bufkin has really helped Hunter Dickinson, taken a lot of the load off of him, but we've seen him come up really big in the last few weeks. Just look back to what happened with the incredible shot on Sunday against Wisconsin. Phenomenal. But he has really stepped up here down the stretch, hasn't he?
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. He understands the importance of this, and that his legacy in part will be shaped by the fact that, okay, he's a junior now. He's one of the better players in the country. He's 7'1". He is the central figure. When people think of Michigan basketball, they think of Hunter Dickinson. And to have what he's done in the first 2 years, followed by potential non-making of the NCAA tournament, he doesn't want that. He really is motivated to get that. And what you saw on Sunday was the biggest shot in Michigan basketball as it pertains to the NCAA tournament since Jordan Poole has unleashed one from deep to drive Michigan late into the NCAA tournament. And this wasn't that. This is just a desperate scramble to make the tournament. But oh my, just to be able to catch that inbounds pass, to maintain the poise, to gather himself, turn around, and then for a big man to unload that deep ball against Wisconsin, send it to overtime, and then Michigan wins. It was, it's a potential season saver. And if this team, when Sunday night rolls around after the Big Ten tournament, if they're announced as one of these teams making the NCAA, a lot of people, that's probably the highlight they'll show, or certainly one of them for this team. And that's, Hunter Dickinson draws a lot of attention in a lot of ways. Sometimes, he'll bring on that anti-hero sort of vibe intentionally. But he was all hero on Sunday afternoon for Michigan, and can certainly be that going forward.
These last two wins have been so huge, and we've done it without Jett Howard contributing. He did warm up, I know, on Sunday, but how close do you think we are to getting him back?
Well, I think they were close enough so that he was arguing for playing in the game on Sunday.
Yeah.
He very much wanted to, and his father / coach said no. Ultimately, we're gonna win this thing without you on the court, because we don't want to aggravate whatever, they haven't made clear exactly what's going on, but I expect him back very soon. It might be tomorrow against Illinois. It might be in the finale against Indiana, a regular season, but I would expect to see Jett Howard in at least one of these two closing games of the regular season.
Well, another player, a lot of fans that I talk to tend to, over the course of the season, sort of get down on is Terrence Williams. And they'll say he hasn't developed like we thought he would. But, as Juwan pointed out last week, he said, Terrence does a lot of things that make this team better, and they don't show up in the stats sheet necessarily, but he's a huge contributor. And getting him back after he was out just a few games, it's been a noticeable difference, especially on defense.
On defense, on the boards, he can lend some toughness and muscle to a team that at times needs that. And I think you're right. He and Juwan Howard certainly knows what he's talking about when he says he will lend an element to this team that is not seen in the stat sheet. People, see him missing threes, and he hasn't shot that well from deep this year, but he does give the Wolverines some of what they need. And the more that they can have players that are tougher on the defensive end, physical on the boards, play with an edge, the better chance that this team has of making the NCAA tournament and doing something if they get there.
Well, we're getting contributions from not just the stars and the big guys, but more and more guys each week, like Jace Howard, Will Shetter, Joey Baker coming up huge in moments. We often overlook the support guys and focus on just the starters, but the bench guys and the secondary option players have really stepped it up here in the last month, haven't they?
There's no question. Joey Baker's had some big games shooting the basketball, and that's a really important piece of the puzzle. I just like to think of Terrace Reed has gotten more attention.
Yeah.
He's swung more towards the guy, one of the guys in the spotlight, but he certainly, he's a freshman, and he started out where it was okay. He's a liability at the end of games because of ineffective free throw shooting. He's picked that up. He's worked so hard on it, and he gives you such a presence out there. He's more of that defender, that physical guy, but also certainly he can do some things with the basketball around the basket. And when he is starting to make free throws, you can't just instantly foul him. So I think he has been huge. Will Shetter is someone who has all the want to you could ever ask for in a player. He is refining his ability to play without fouling. That's something that the Michigan coaches have worked really hard with him at. And he's had some ups and downs physically. He had a while where he was injured, and then a while where he was not feeling particularly well. He was sick, and I think he is learning a lot through this first season on the court. I just think that this year will be nothing but good for him going forward, because he's in a similar position to where Kobe Buffkin was a year ago. Now, Kobe was a true freshman. And Will Shetter had a redshirt season, but still, that first time on the court, it's very, very different at this level, and he's tucking away a lot of things that he will give to this team going forward.
Well, what I find interesting, John, is over the last few weeks, if you watch the message boards and talk to fans, there was a little bit of grumbling about how Juwan was handling the team. Keeping in mind, and I don't think we always do, that this is a really young team that lost a couple of key cogs to the NBA draft last year. I think you have to say Juwan himself as a coach has been extremely patient in developing this team, and that patience we're seeing rewarded right now.
No question. The players know that he is very much on their side, and yet he was willing to show kind of a toughness in, okay, I'm not putting up with this, when he had the perception that the coach's orders weren't being carried out on the court after this was right preceding this recent win streak, where he said, we're asking things of them, and they're not carrying them out. They're seeing a better way, something like that. He hinted that he was seeing from some freelancing that he didn't like. So when you get something like that from a coach who is is a player's coach, and talks family and all that, that's a wake up call. So I think he got their attention. And you're right. You say that this is a team that has a bunch of new starters, 4 out of the 5. Everybody supporting and surrounding Hunter Dickinson was new as far as starting. And then the guy, Jalen Llewellyn, who was supposed to be your graduate student transfer in point guard, all of a sudden goes down before they hardly get going. And you've got another freshman starting in the lineup. I think there's been a lot of growth there. And I think in some ways, you look at Juwan Howard, and he is still growing himself because you're coming off of a stretch where you had a 40-year college head coach at the helm, and people want to make John Beilein comparisons. I don't think that's fair at this stage. I mean, Juwan Howard is still absorbing and soaking in the college game and refining his own techniques in working with players and all that. And I think that there have been some really good signs of late.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with you on that. We're taping on Wednesday morning. It's a big 4-day stretch with Illinois and Indiana, so we have the opportunity right in front of us to lock into the NCAA tournament, but we'll see how that goes. But there's a lot going on, as we mentioned at the top of the show, on the athletic scene. Spring football practice is underway, and we've been hearing a little bit about that. Not much gets out of Schembechler Hall, but it is just so exciting to look at this team and have a spring where you say, man, is this team loaded up, John?
Absolutely. We knew certainly that the offense was loaded when you found out that you're going to have both of your starting running backs back. Certainly Blake Corum for most of the year, and Donovan Edwards stepping in and to provide the unbelievably huge game against Ohio State and beating them for a second straight year. And you've got your quarterback back, and a lot of teams around the Big Ten cannot say the same. It's going to be a really good situation. Starts up front. You've got three linchpins on the offensive line back. And then you supplement that with this transfer portal where you're bringing in not freshmen, but 3 and 4 year players that can compete and plug in with the very good talent that Michigan has coming up. You switch to the defensive side of the football, and the biggest news I've heard so far is Amarian Walker, the sophomore out of Louisiana, the 6'3", 180, who Jim Harbaugh has essentially named a starter at cornerback until further notice. And you put him next to Will Johnson, who was excellent in stepping in as a freshman last year. And you've got a couple of young guys that are extremely talented at those positions. You've got the safeties already. And look what we saw out of the young defensive linemen early in the year, early in their careers. Last year as true freshmen. You pull in one of the top linebackers in the Big Ten and maybe in the nation that was a freshman last year at Nebraska. And I mean, they have a lot of pieces to the puzzle. And I'm really thoroughly looking for this team to come together and compete just like it has the past 2 years. I mean, at this point, I talked on our own broadcast recently that I expect Michigan to go into the Ohio State game once again with either no losses or one loss and getting ready to try to take down the Buckeyes for a third straight year. And all that accrues with that, you win that game if you're in position, then you're going to be in the Big Ten championship. You're probably going to be in the playoffs, and that's the potential for this team.
It's nice to have a spring where there aren't that many questions about the team. You sort of you're just amped up about getting to the fall. If there are any questions that I get from listeners or hear, it's about Jim's contract. When will he sign? Is the NCAA investigation the holdup in this process right now, John?
I would say that they're dealing with the NCAA stuff, and both sides are rather dug in. I don't know that is the biggest holdup for signing a contract. I think they want to make sure that they get everything that they possibly can get, and it's interesting when Jim Harbaugh goes before the media and says, what's the big deal? I'm here. I projected and all that, and I'm here as long as Michigan wants me. Well, you can take that a number of different ways. Does that mean as long as Michigan keeps giving the football program what they feel they need to win like they have the last 2 years? Is that raising the bar on NIL? Is that raising the bar on ability to transfer? Those sorts of things that Jim Harbaugh could interpret as showing the love. A lot of things happening behind the scenes,
Yeah.
No question about it, when it comes to football and this negotiation. So I think there are a lot of elements involved, but Jim Harbaugh is unquestionably playing chess at this point, and he has earned the leeway to do so because of the way this program has produced over the last couple of years.
Well, there is no question about that, and he's been very active in the offseason, and one of the great moves was bringing back Chris Partridge as a rehire, which I think everyone agrees was a fantastic move, wasn't it?
Oh, no question about it. I mean, Chris Partridge could have been one of the guys that was in line for even more had Jesse Minter flown the coop. Jesse Minter, the defensive coordinator, was talking with the Eagles, Philadelphia Eagles, about maybe leaving, and Chris Partridge would have been a natural for at least a co-defensive coordinator role. As it is, they're loaded up with someone who not only comes back to Michigan, knows Michigan, loves it. He enjoyed his time here, no question about it. And he's certainly going to enjoy his time here now that he's coaching for a two-time defending Big Ten champion. Chris Partridge knows his special teams inside and out. Jay Harbaugh's done a great job with the special teams, and will, I assume, continue to coach special teams. But Chris Partridge can help out there as well. Just a home run hire in moving this staff forward, and this staff to keep it together in large part, I think is just monumental, because this is a very, very good football staff.
Yes, it is. And one of the other staff news stories that sort of popped up over the last few weeks was that Shemi Schembechler was in talking to Jim and I think Ward. He parted ways with the Raiders after years of being a scout with that team. In what capacity do you think he would be joining the staff, John, if that does indeed happen?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think Shemi could certainly help out in some scouting ways, on the recruiting staff. It has been a while since I have caught up with and talked to Shemi, but certainly you've got the Schembechler bloodline there, and someone who has a number of different experiences in different ways. That would be very interesting. It's like old home week if those sorts of things happen. You get Fred Jackson back on your staff, and some of these guys that have been around and been so closely associated with Michigan. It's Jim Harbaugh has that feeling of he's kind of the anti-Rich Rodriguez. Rich Rodriguez was cut ties with all of the former, or almost all of the former Michigan guys, and Jim Harbaugh is bringing them back and bringing them in, and creating a staff that I think is really maybe the best staff, or right up there with those that I saw in the early 90s when I first started doing the magazine, when you had the Cam Camerons and the Les Mileses on as assistants on this staff.
No, I agree with that. And, we've had Shemi on this show quite a lot, and he loves to talk about recruiting. He earlier in his career saw himself as being a recruiting coordinator, and of course that's really changed in college football, that position. But
When you talk to Shemmy and Shemmy, what a great addition he would be, though, to the recruiting in some capacity with Michigan, because you won't talk to anyone that loves this program more and really knows how to evaluate talent.
There's no question about it. And, he is steeped in Michigan since he was a little kid. You grow up under Bo Schembechler, and you are going to be absolutely maize and blue all the way. It doesn't matter where Shemmy's been. He has never left Michigan, and in that sense, he would be someone who could hit the ground running.
But I would love to see Shemmy back. Switching gears for a few minutes, though, as we mentioned at the top of the show, a lot going on right now. Let's talk about Coach Barnes Arico and her team for a minute, John. Great season. The Big Ten tourney gets underway on Friday, but it seems like heading into the tournament, I would think they're already a lock for the NCAA, aren't they?
I would think so. You'd probably like to finish your season, regular season, a little bit better than they have with dropping some games. But the flip side of that is you're going into the Big Ten tournament with a very different look. I mean, you've had a team that has been playing without its two best players, and that, of course, would be your fifth-year senior guard, Leah Brown, and sophomore guard, Layla Filia, and both of them first team All Big Ten. To have them out and then have them coming back, I think it's going to be huge for this team. There are various degrees of readiness. Leah Brown available, we heard from Kim Barnes Arico herself, and Filia coming along after a lower body injury, and she is going to be back. They have said so. Those aspects alone make this a really intriguing time for Michigan in a way to come back together, to be all that it can be as a team going into tournament time.
And hockey's in somewhat of a similar situation. They won 8 in a row, then struggled with Ohio State and Notre Dame over the last 2 weekends. But this team is sitting in a really good position, and what an exciting team to watch, John. I think if they're not the youngest team in D1, they are certainly one of them. You watch them all year, and you think, man, they really haven't put it together yet. And with the talent they have, if they do, they're scary.
No question about it. No question. And you look at the approach that Brandon Naurato is taking with this head coach, looking at a team and saying, basically, they didn't finish the season exactly like they wanted to, as you alluded to. But he's talking about, recent quote, "I'm happier with how we played in losing. Maybe it's because we're already in second than we would have if we won by 5 goals playing the wrong way. I feel better about our team heading into the playoffs." And so he's emphasizing the positives and saying he likes what he's seeing, despite a little dip in the bottom line results at the end of the regular season. So yeah, I agree. It's a young team. It's an incredibly exciting team, and all it needs to do is catch that hot streak coming into tournament time, coming into the most important time of the year for basketball, for hockey, for a number of different sports, and certainly Michigan has a chance to shake things up nationally.
And hockey's so exciting to watch. As we said, young team, very young coach with Coach Naurato. He's killing it on the recruiting trail. Do you expect, sometime soon, or maybe right after the season, we'll see that interim tag removed?
Well, I'll just say this: he has given them no reason not to remove it. This has been a very encouraging season for the Wolverines. Certainly, I'm sure They want him focused on his team right now and nothing else, and want to see how they go through tournament time. But you were right on in terms of how he's recruiting, how he's handled this team, the look of it, and like I said, I haven't seen any reason to not remove that interim tag. We'll see how it goes. I would think it would be sooner rather than later, maybe allowing for the end of the season to take place first.
Yeah, I agree with that. Well, number 4, Michigan women's gymnastics clinched another Big Ten title over the weekend, which is their 8th in program history, 2nd in a row. Another exceptional year for Coach Bev Plocky's powerhouse program, John.
No question. One of the real iconic programs for Michigan, and has been for a long, long time. Bev Plocky does such a fantastic job with them. Little bit of extra intrigue this year, because in the Big Ten championships, Michigan will be the number 2 seed as opposed to the number 1 seed, and that number 1 seed at this point is Michigan State. So that itself lends some intrigue. You've got a battle at the top in the Big Ten, and certainly then Michigan looks beyond the Big Ten. Big Ten has just kind of been another check mark on the dance card. But Michigan every year with women's gymnastics sets its sights very, very high, and that means national ranking and a shot at a national championship. So we will see how they are going forward. But like I say, this is a team and a program that has earned the respect of one of the greatest, certainly Michigan women's programs of all time, and right up there challenging with the best of the best.
No question about that. Well, Michigan wrestling headed into the Big Ten tournament, 4-3 conference record, 11-4 overall in what is just an incredibly loaded Big Ten. It always is, but it's been another solid year for the wrestling team, hasn't it?
Yeah, it really has. And what you say is so very true there, that you can be in the middle of the Big Ten and still be one of the very, very best teams in the nation. And Michigan takes a back seat to very few in this country with the way this program has been conducted. 5-3 in the conference, 11-4 overall, but they will give you a battle, and I'm interested to see what they do in the Big Ten championships coming right around the corner, and those being in Ann Arbor, it's going to be a fun event locally, no question.
Well, final question before we let you get away, John. Spring is on the horizon, maybe not weather-wise for a while, but both softball and baseball have been at it now. Softball for 2 weeks. Baseball just got underway last week. Ladies off to a, almost 500 start. The men doing pretty darn well, but it's a big transition year from a coaching perspective for both of those programs, isn't it?
Yeah, no question. You look at for so many, many years, it was just automatic. Carol Hutchins, Wolverines, and what she's doing with her program, and they're going to be excellent. And now to have Bonnie Thal at the top of that program, she's been such an integral part of it for so many years, and so very good. I think that this will be a continuation of what we have seen in the past. I think that she knows how to get it done. She has all the support in the world, and I have no doubt that Bonnie Thal will continue what Carol Hutchins has created around Alumni Field and around Michigan. Baseball, Tracy Smith. You certainly know that he has plenty of experience in getting things done on the baseball side of things. Team off to a 4-3 start. You understand that they're taking on some teams that can play outside year-round, and they're playing on the away turf because Michigan is iced over at this time of year, and so you're going to be at a disadvantage in both those sports. It is not how softball and baseball start for Michigan. It's how they finish, and we've learned that lesson a number of times.
Well, as you've heard over the last half an hour, so there is a lot going on in the Michigan athletic scene. Always is this time of year, and we'll focus for the next 4 or 5 days, or hopefully a couple of weeks, on Michigan basketball. But as always, it's great to have you on the show, John. Our guest today, senior editor of the Wolverine Magazine, John Borton. John, we appreciate you being so gracious with your time, and we look forward to that next visit.
Thanks a lot, Mike. Always great to be with you.
On Quick Hits today, we'll keep it short because John and I hit on just about everything happening on the Michigan sports scene right now. In the coming weeks, we'll have more spring football talk and hopefully basketball, men and women, along with hockey, gymnastics, and wrestling. It has been an outstanding year so far for all of those teams and could be even better in the coming weeks. That does it for another show. Make sure you tell your family and friends about us and join again next week. I'm your host, Mike Fitzpatrick. Have a great Wolverine week, everyone. Until we meet again, take care, and as always, go blue.
Thanks for joining us today on The Michigan Man, here on Wolverine Sports Radio, a member of the V Sporto Network, and in partnership with SB Nation's Maize and Brew. Our listener lines are open 24/7 for your calls at 313-263-4842. That's 313-263-4842. Or email us at themichiganmanpodcast@yahoo.com. That's themichiganmanpodcast@yahoo.com. The Michigan Man Podcast is produced at the studios of Robin Lynn Productions, Allen Park, Michigan, and is not affiliated with the University of Michigan. Go Blue!